Hey guys, it's Christy and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about what I would like to see from some of my very favorite brands in 2023. So before we get into it, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and let's get into it. Okay, so I got thinking about my very favorite makeup brands, and I was thinking about what I hope they're going to release next year, what I would be so excited to review. So let's just start with Natasha Denona. So this is obviously a brand that I love so much. I review all of her palettes, and I got thinking that she had her matte foundation for a while, her matte concealer, and I don't know if they did the very best. But there really hasn't been anything complexion-wise since then, except for maybe the Hygiene primer or whatever it was. And I feel like her Transform Matte foundation and concealer, they've been on clearance for an age. So that gives me the feeling that she is going to make some changes to her complexion line and maybe launch a new foundation concealer. I would love to see that from her. I would absolutely review those. This is one of my favorite brands, so I would love to see a foundation or concealer come out from Natasha. I just think it's been a long time, and I just think that that would really help her lineup be much more well-rounded. So I think I would love to see that from her. Of course, I'd love to see a new palette from her, but we get palettes every year, so foundation and concealer are the big ones. Next, I have Pat McGrath, and she needs to release a bronzer. So I have no idea why this line does not have bronzer. I think just from doing some research that there is going to be a bronzer at some point, but I hope it's in 2023. I am tired of waiting. She's got everything else except bronzers, and I don't understand. I would also like to see a slightly more full coverage foundation, but that's only my preference. Her Sublime Skin Fetish foundation is so beautiful, but it is definitely a little bit more on the sheer side. I do tend to be a bit of a full glam kind of girl. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I do want to see that. But I think the main thing she needs to come out with, the bronzer. Let's manifest the bronzer into existence, because I am dying to add a bronzer. I think that would really also round out her lineup a lot better. I feel like that's something that's just really missing from Pat McGrath's line. Makeup by Mario. He also needs foundation and concealer, and I think I've seen some spoilers. I think that's coming, and I imagine that will come in the beginning of the year when all of those products tend to come out. Anybody who is releasing foundation concealer tend to do so in January, February, which is great. But I really do want to see those products soon. I'm hoping for a liquid foundation. Creams and powders can be a little bit more hit or miss, same with foundation sticks, so I'm really hoping it's a liquid foundation and also a concealer, because those are the two things that are really missing from Mario's line as well. I don't think he has a mascara, actually. Correct me if I'm wrong. I do not think he has a mascara. He has everything else, just not those products. So it would be nice to see some of those as well. I do want to see more eyeshadows from him. I think his eyeshadows are great quality. I've only, of course, tried the Ethereal Eyes palette, but the quality is phenomenal. So I would love to see more of those. But before that, definitely need to see some of the foundation and concealer again, just to round out the line. Patrick Ta. Also think he needs a foundation, but a liquid foundation. So he came out with the cream foundation and finishing powder duo. I hate that product. The foundation doesn't work on my skin, and I have heard some people just love it. And this foundation, I feel like people either super love it or super hate it. There is no in between. So I would like to see him come out with a liquid foundation, because I do think that that would, again, round out his line a little bit better, cater to all skin types a little bit more. He also needs a concealer. That's something that his lineup doesn't have, so I would love to see a concealer from Patrick Ta. I think that would be really, really great. I think he's got everything else. I would love another eyeshadow palette from him, because his eyeshadow formula is so good. He came out with the Major Dimension last year, and then this year he came out with the Rose palette, and the formula is so much better. The first one was good. The second one was way better. So if he does release an eyeshadow palette, I would love to see one in the same formula as the Rose palette. but I think the most important thing is he does need a concealer to round out his line, but I would also love to see a liquid foundation. And the last brand that I really, really love is Charlotte Tilbury. So she releases a fair amount of products, and she has a really well-rounded line as well. She's got 3 different types of foundation, so she's catering to all coverage needs, different skin types. I think she does a really good job with that. She's got primers. I think she does well with that as well. She's got a ton of palettes. She's got 2 different concealers now, blushes, bronzers, cream bronzers. She's got everything. So I think Charlotte Tilbury has a really well-rounded lineup. So anything I'm suggesting is not going to contribute to rounding out her lineup better. It's more so just what I want. So I was really sad that she did not release a 12 pan eyeshadow palette for holiday this year. Typically she releases one around holiday. We've seen the Pillow Talk palette, the Bejeweled Eyes to Hypnotize, the Smoky Eyes Are Forever, and I love them all so much. This year she released the Pillow Talk face palette, which I think is beautiful, but is typically something we see from her more in the spring or summer, and then we get that 12 pan eyeshadow palette for holiday. And I was really disappointed that we didn't get one this year, so maybe if one of those could come out, or maybe some new quads, that would be fine. I would also love to see another full face palette. I love her Instant Look of Love in a palette. Love that so much. I'm close to hitting pan on the highlight in there. So I'd love to see another one of those because I think she does such a good job with them. So with Charlotte Tilbury, it's a little different. Some of the other brands need certain things, and then with her, she doesn't really need anything. It's just more so what I really want to see from her, because again, I was disappointed at the lack of eyeshadow. She did release some singles and they're incredible, but I would have liked to see a little bit more. That is it. Basically, I just think every brand needs to come out with a foundation, but Pat McGrath needs a bronzer and Charlotte Tilbury needs more eyeshadows or face palettes. And that is it for me today. Let me know down below what you want to see in 2023. What do you think brands should be releasing? I love to hear from you guys. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload at least 3 new videos every single week. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!